All right. I'm really happy that you're here and that you decided to join the Rebirth Sessions today in this meeting. Really lovely. So we're actually entering into a new, say, 2 weeks of practicing the presence. We do this in all kinds of ways. So this is one of them. This Rebirth Sessions is one of them, of course. And in the chapters that we're looking at with Joel on Saturday and Sunday, it is related to that too. It's all practicing the presence. So it's like that's so given and it's so great to use. Of course, it's the main course of our spiritual awakening, becoming present. Now, what is actually becoming present? Who is actually becoming present, you could say, like that. That is a bit where it's all about, and it's not necessarily easy to you can't figure it out. That makes it really something else. And so I actually want to take time to take a bit of a look at that, because we say, yeah, practicing the presence. Yeah, I got a book too. It's like, what do you mean you got a book too? Are you practicing the presence? That's what this is about. And there's no book that can tell you that. No, that's your practice that will tell you that you're actually practicing the presence. And that's what we're dealing with. So what happens when you come into presence would be one of the questions. And so what is then actually presence? Now, we approach that from many different directions because, like I said, there's a need of the human intellect to get what that means. When people say, "Yeah, I'm so in the now. I'm so in the now," but I'm still worried though. Like, well, then you're not in the now. If you're worried, you're not in the now. You're not present. And I'm this and I'm that. And so one of the essentials that is coming up, that comes to my, say, as an healing target, because this was one of the things we should do with the Rebirth Sessions, actually looking at healing targets. Well, you could say like the tendency of the human mind, to identify with what it is thinking. And you say like, well, I've heard it before. Of course, that we shouldn't do that. But see, the practice of it is, well, when I wake up, I have all these nasty thoughts, all these terrible thoughts. I'm starting attacking right the instant that I open my eyes. I wake up and suddenly there's these attack thoughts, till, say, pointed at the person that I was so irritated about yesterday. And it still seems to go on. And it's like, well, that is, for instance, a great example of the fact that you have a tendency to identify with what you are thinking. You think that your thoughts are you. And this is, is caused by the fact that you have a conversation with yourself and continuously the whole day. Well, is that a good idea? I don't know. Well, I don't know. You know, you order your thoughts by having a conversation with yourself, by being busy with your thoughts, trying to better them, to filter out the bad ones, the negative ones, and looking for the positive ones, for doing all kinds of stuff with the thoughts, really thinking that you need to do something with it. Now, I hope one thing, that is during this rebirth session, that you will never forget that's not necessary. Like, there's no way that you can let yourself be defined by your thoughts, your so-called your thoughts, because they are not your thoughts. You don't have thoughts. You don't have thoughts. They come up in your consciousness, sure. They do whatever they do. But it is not you that is thinking them. It is not you that are actually engaging with them. Like, there's nothing to engage with. These thoughts have no meaning. Except, of course, when you have given the meaning, then you really think you're doing something. And you can keep yourself busy with that for lifetimes, centuries. You can hurt everyone with that, and especially yourself. Since there's only you, you might as well think that too then. Like, there's only you. So this is the very, very, very beginning of the dislodgement of the conceptual poop that is sticking on your idea about yourself, that has no relationship with you whatsoever. So in other words, you will have to contaminate yourself with it by choice, or they disappear, or they go to the background and you don't fuss with them at all. Now this is so incredibly essential, and it fits so well in, say, the healing target, purity of mind, you could say, or atonement. So, like, of course we practice this with the Course in Miracles. The first 20 lessons are literally made for it. Now, nothing I see means anything. I've given all I see the meaning that it has for me, and so on. I'm not upset for the reason that I think. There's no need for me to hold on to any thoughts. There's no need for me to understand what's going on. There's no necessity for me to be concerned about anything. There's no need to organize my thoughts in a, say, past, future relationship, in a continuity of time. And look what I'm doing the whole day in my mind, having a conversation with myself. Well, should I do that? I don't know. I really don't feel like doing that. Oh my God, I don't feel well. Oh, what should I do about that? Familiar, right? It sounds really familiar. Like, this conversation will have to stop. It's like there's nothing coming out of that conversation. It's a talk. It's a hypnotic, like it's a mesmeric conversation you have with no one. So all the thoughts that you use as some kind of ammunition to throw out of your consciousness into the world, and literally attacking your whole whoever, whatever with it, is literally doing nothing, having no effect whatsoever. Well, the only effect that you have, since you have valued it, is that you start to feel guilty. And the guilt is starting to build up, accumulate, until it's unbearable. And then you say, like, I need help. Sounds familiar, right? So this is a real healing moment here for us together. Like, the conversation needs to stop. There's no sense in conversing with yourself. It has no meaning. It has no healing value. It has no healing potential whatsoever. Now, here's the thing. You use this as a defense. And this is the part that you need to see too. So that's where the pivot point is too. So you actually use this as an active defense against the love of God. Since the love of God is with you in this instant, it cannot be anywhere else. It is with you, it is in you, it has to do with you. It is as you were created, it has to do with you. It is the essence of you. It is not someone else. No, this is the essence of you. It has only to do with you, with your inner experience of yourself. It has not with anyone else to do. No, it's your relationship with God, your relationship with your Creator, your relationship as it is given to you. You have, say, no say over the content of that, over any kind of characteristic of that. You have literally It is given to you. It is complete in itself. And it has literally nothing to do with the, say, ego figure that you call your name, that you call the one with your name, that you call the one with the body, that you call the one that seems to be in all kinds of drama, all kinds of painful episodes, all kinds of incredible, impossible situations. It has nothing to do with that. Since that was the confusion about who you are, related to the thoughts you were thinking about yourself, right? So that's the start. Now we made the first circle is round. We started with the thoughts about ourselves, waking up in the morning, having attack thoughts already, and wanting to just destroy at least one of them, but basically the whole world. And then ending up letting it all go, recognizing that these thoughts have nothing to do with me. No, they are sourceless. They're nothing. They're meaningless. They can have no effects. They will not change your reality. They will not change your innocence. Never ever will change your innocence. Like your innocence is something you've nothing to say about. It is a given. Your happiness is something you've nothing to say about. It is given. Your abundance, your fulfillment, your totality is something you have nothing to say about. No, it is created. It is you. It is given to you. And it has nothing to do with any idea that you hold about it. So it cannot function as the thoughts that you are thinking. It cannot be the thoughts that you are thinking. So when outside, you could say outside of truth, what is outside of truth? Nothing. What is outside of you? Nothing. What is outside of your consciousness? We did this the other day. It's like, no, there's nothing outside your consciousness. It's limitless. Limitless means without limits. It is not obstructed by anything. It is not defined. It is not understandable. It goes beyond intelligence. It goes beyond your deepest considerations. It goes beyond all of the thoughts that you are thinking. That you think that you are thinking, and that you think that that is you. Has nothing to do with it. Now this is something to ponder, of course, and to let it in, and to see that, oh my God, I'm actually the whole day talking to myself. I'm really having a conversation continuously. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. So that's something I shouldn't do. Oh my God, I'm so used to it. I would be like kind of empty if I don't do that. But who's going to fill that space, that loneliness, that emptiness? Like, well, you'll see. Don't worry about it. So, like, as if it is filled with the poop that you are thinking, you could say. Even your positive, great, wonderful ideas, your so positive intentions have nothing to do with it either. Well, so are you healed now? Well, this is an essential start. So being aware, for starters, being aware of the fact that you're actually having a conversation with yourself all the time and that there's no need for it to do that anymore is one thing. The second thing is the thoughts that I seem to be thinking are not mine. They're not me. I cannot identify with them as them being me. So that is really essential. I will have to dislodge myself from what I'm thinking. That's essential. So whatever the thoughts are, when you wake up in the morning, whatever the thoughts are, who cares what you're thinking? Like, who cares? They're not yours. They are not yours. They have nothing to do with anything. They have no relationship with anything substantial or real. Like nothing. Absolutely meaningless. So the lessons that follow later on in the course is like my mind thinks only what I think with God. That's what it truly does. The thoughts I'm thinking about myself, I seem to be thinking about myself, have no meaning. But the thoughts I'm thinking with God, that's where the truth comes in. And that's a totally different way of thinking. That is thinking with an effect, you could say. Thinking with the power of the universe. It has nothing to do with the limited ideas that you have entertained yourself with in order to avoid that your consciousness can be filled with light and love and completedness. Well, that's so cool. That is so cool to discover. Well, here it is. I'm using just a couple of the first 20 lessons, but you can say it in so many ways. So one of the ways that we're going to use now is, for instance, some expressions of Joel Goldsmith. I use Joel because of the way that he expresses himself. That is, say, a really nice way to start with this, say, allowing this healing to occur in you, in fact, dislodging from the incessant need to identify yourself with your thoughts. So I found a piece in parenthesis in eternity, and that's a book of him, and yeah, we're going to use that as some kind of contemplation meditation. So I'm sharing something with you, and we'll start to recite that. We spend some quiet time with it and see what happens. So there's an opportunity to not be distracted by the things that you seem to be thinking, because it's not really thinking at all. Like, it is nothing. It's really nothing. So don't value it, or don't try to get rid of it, or don't fight it. Resist not evil, and evil in the sense of meaninglessness. You don't have to fight meaninglessness. So whatever comes up as a thought, let it be there. Who cares? Don't do anything with it. That's all. Start breathing, start relaxing. Relax your shoulders, sit back and breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth in total rest. So this is a time you set apart to be and to open up, to connect with what is real. So Joel is going to help us with the words that he shares. His presence, right? This is what we're talking about. It's about his presence. When I'm practicing the presence, I'm practicing his presence. Opening myself, my consciousness for his presence. This day, I am God governed. God is the intelligence directing the activity of my day. In other words, God is directing that. There's nothing asked of me but to follow this. I don't have to direct my activity of my day. God is the intelligence directing the activity of my day. The still, small voice protecting and sustaining me. This is my prayer, that I be God governed. That I never forget to seek God every moment of the day. I pray that I may never forget to thank God for my daily bread. Never forget to realize God as the source of all. and that I am never unmindful of the limitless abundance of supply which God expresses through me to all those who come within the range of my consciousness. God's grace is with me throughout this day. His presence goes before me and walks beside me. Who walks with me? God's grace is with me throughout this day, and His presence goes before me and walks beside me. In this presence there is harmony and fulfillment, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom from any and every limitation.
Aujourd'hui, je suis gouvernée par Dieu. Dieu est l'intelligence qui dirige l'activité de ma journée. La petite voix douce qui me protège et me soutient. C'est ma prière. Que je sois gouvernée par Dieu, que je n'oublie jamais de chercher Dieu à chaque instant de la journée. Je prie pour ne jamais oublier de remercier Dieu pour mon pain quotidien. N'oubliez jamais de réaliser que Dieu est la source de tout et que je n'oublie jamais l'abondance illimitée du ravitaillement que Dieu exprime à travers moi et à tous ceux qui viennent à la portée de ma conscience. La grâce de Dieu est avec moi tout au long de cette journée et sa présence m'accompagne devant moi et marche à mes côtés. Dans cette présence, il y a l'harmonie, l'épanouissement, car là où est l'Esprit du Seigneur, là est la liberté de toute limitation.
So it's like where the Spirit of the Lord is. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is no limitation. It's like, and where's the Spirit of the Lord? Where is the Spirit of the Lord? That's good to know too. It's like let's give that a place. Like, where is that? Where is the Spirit of the Lord? It's not a spirit or some ghost floating over the waters or something. Like, no. This is literally, say, your inner being. It's within you. It's your, say, your true self. You could say, is your right mind. Is the mind that doesn't think the human thoughts, but is actually present in communication with its creator. Like, that is what the Spirit is. In that, how can you possibly, say, experience limitation or any kind of distortion, you could say. So it's like that. It's exactly where the practice is leading to, into the recognition that there is nothing else but that the thoughts I was thinking and was distracted by, and that I identified with, and that I really thought were my thoughts, are not my thoughts. Like, these are not my thoughts. So the part that is actually thinking with God, you could say, in complete communication with God, is my right mind, my Christ mind. That's really what Spirit is. Spirit is presence. It is right here. It is right now. It is in communication. And it doesn't need anything. It has no need. It has nothing to do, you could say. It really, it has nothing to do. It is just itself. It is just itself. It doesn't have goals. It doesn't have anything like that. It's like, no, it's present. That's its characteristic. It's omnipresent. It is with you all the time. You can't lose it. And even if you walk this earth, you could say, in a certain sense, you seem to be doing that. If you walk this earth, it doesn't mean you have to be in time. It doesn't mean that you have to knit it all together as a continuity of a yesterday and a tomorrow and maybe 10 more years, or who knows what you're thinking. What you think you're thinking. These are not your thoughts. It's like you, the you that we're talking about is not the you that you think you are. Now this is becoming more and more obvious, of course. I have repeated it now several times. So that's so great. Now, when you start reading spiritual scripture, you could say, you see that it makes sense. And in fact, it is said all the time, but you never heard it. And I'll give an example. You see here, there's a presence that is as real as we are real to one another. And once it is felt and experienced, there is a relaxation from personal effort. When this presence is realized, we shall find that it takes form as new organs and functions of the body, as our home, supply, family, and as our human relationships, or even a parking spot. We saw this on Saturday too, or Sunday. I can of my own self do nothing, is the man Jesus speaking. But then as the presence is realized, I have meat to eat ye know not of. Then comes the third stage, when God speaks as individual being, I am the way, the truth, and the life. This is the Word made flesh, God incarnate walking this earth. And that ultimately is the destiny of every individual. And it goes further than that even. It's like it's a destiny of every individual. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Like no one comes to me, but no one comes to the Father but by me. And I've meat the world does not know of. Now, you see that in our spiritual adventure, you could say, we go further than that. Because there's another line, in fact, you could say it as the fourth stage, which tells you that like I have overcome the world. And that is really stage 4. That's in fact your fourth dimension. So we love these words and we love to think about it with our limited way of thinking, but it can be experienced easily. It's like it is your natural state of presence, and that is not related to time. It has nothing to do with it, but it can be experienced right now. Now this is good to know. So there are a couple of stages you go through, and more you start to see that the things that I seem to be thinking have actually nothing to do with this. So it's like, no, there are some real thoughts coming to us. I and my Father are one, and say I'm the way, the truth, and the life. In fact, also like no one comes to the Father but by me. Like my Christ mind, my spirit, my Trinity is within me. I am part of that. So that establishes me as a part of that. It establishes me, not as I see myself. Now here in practicing the presence, we always say like, well, let go of ideas about yesterday, let go of ideas about tomorrow, concerns, whatever dreams that you might want to fulfill. For this moment, just let your desire be single for, say, realizing communication with your source, with your Father. So that's why we say that. That has a reason. All right, so this is cool. This is wonderful. So I actually want to leave it for this for now in this part of the meeting, and this is the public part, you could say. It's like anyone can watch this, and we have a private part in which we're going to exchange some expressions in like a setting of privacy, safety, gentleness to one another, receptivity, and also it is an intimate process. So it's not something you put out on the streets necessarily directly, or no, you must have the motivation or the inspiration to bring it outside. It must be given you to do that, literally. Like you don't have to do that, thinking that you have to bring it out there or something. Like that doesn't make any sense. Now all your considerations about anything don't make sense. So also those then. So one thing that came up during the contemplation was this, and maybe that's the last thing I'm sharing then. And this is this part. So when you actually write something down for yourself, you start to speak in the I form. You think that you're talking about yourself. But this talking about yourself, this expression that you give about yourself is in fact not what you are. Like it's not what you are. So, and that's good to realize. So your considerations about yourself, about what you think is going on in your process, is in fact not meaningful. Because it's like you start to evaluate yourself in a way with limited attributes. So you can use it for your release. Absolutely. So it's like you share these ideas with the recognition that it will tell you nothing about yourself, but you just have to get it out of your system, and you give it away to spirit, to your whole mind. You give it away to let it be converted into something useful. Now, then it becomes interesting. Well, this private part of the meeting has a lot of that in it. You can share whatever you want, but with a certain purpose, not like necessarily for entertaining purposes. No, for releasing purposes, to release your hold upon your own identification with your thoughts, to release that, to get rid of that, so to speak, to release that, not to establish it, not to confirm it again and again and again, in order that you think that you now become someone, a spiritual person that can actually express himself in a certain way and knows what he's talking about. Like that would be another misidentification. So in that comes then, this is the purification or the healing practice that we do in the rebirth sessions. In fact, we allow that to be new all the time. It has nothing to do with your idea about yourself. So you can share your ideas with the purpose of giving them away, in fact never touching them again, for the release of the identification with it, for the release of misidentification, in order to have an experience. Now if you do that well, you will see that in fact there's a release going on that is tangible for everyone that is there. Something happens, something miraculous happens, and that is the release of your self-identity, however little that seems to be. It doesn't matter, but you gave that up, so to speak. You gave it up for healing. You gave that away for healing. Now that I wanted to say is like, that's essential. Otherwise we can be doing rebirth sessions with creative expression as if it is like a civil center while we're going to practice that or something, to become a better expresser or who knows what. It's like, no, none of that. Purely for the release. It's in that sense very raw. It's very pure. And that's it. All right, so I'm playing a tune.